maybe good morning.
Recording in progress.
Yeah, good morning. And also good afternoon. Probably, I wonder if anybody would should say good evening right at this moment. Okay. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Metropolis Learning Hub Chengdu webinar, Seeking Better Quality of Community Life, a Park City Approach, jointly organized by the World Association of Major Metropolises and the Foreign Affairs Office of Chengdu Municipal People's Government. It is also the second online training program following the spring session in May this year. This is Yang Shaoping, Director of Chengdu Radio Television, in charge of the International Cooperation Center. So I'm very pleased and great honored to be invited to host this event. To start with, please allow me to introduce the guests and speakers present here today. They are Mr. Octavio de la Vaga, Secretary General of Metropolis. Could you say hello to us? Hello, welcome.
Hello and good morning from Barcelona.
Okay,
Good evening for you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Zhang Bing, Director General of Chengdu Municipal Foreign Affairs Office.
Hello, everyone.
Hello? Okay. Now, Ms. Lily, Deputy Director General of Chengdu Municipal Foreign Affairs Office. Did you say hello? Yes. Mr. Scott Chin Nan Ma, Director of Urban Design and Master Planning at AECOM. Scott?
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, thank you. Ms. Yang Jinghui, Community Secretary of East Wheeling Road Community, Chengdu Wuhou District. Dr. Felicia Adib, official of Expertise Hub and Community Department Center Project, Ramallah Community.
Hi, everyone. Good morning from Palestine.
Good morning. Mr. Qi Ge from the First Engineering Department of Chengdu Chenghua Urban Construction Investment Company Limited. Hey, Qi Ge 先生. Yeah, good morning, everyone. And me, Mr. Li Ke-yi, designer of Chengdu Chenghua Sports Space. Sajida Onsor, project manager, improving Amman Greater Municipality.
Good morning from Amman.
Good morning. So at last, Mr. Yue Fu Fei, Community Secretary of Jingcheng Community, Hangzhou City, Chengdu. Okay, welcome. 欢迎各位到来. So again, welcome to this event. As all we know that a community is a fundamental social unit of a metropolis. It is where people build up their social networks, access basic health care, education, and other services. Public space in the community, including community service centers, parks, playgrounds, and neighborhood spaces in urban areas, plays a very important position in community. We're witnessing that local government all around the world are seeking for solutions so that citizens have at their disposal all the necessary services to live in the metropolitan space, but with the facilities and the quality of life of a small town or city. So this webinar brings together speakers from cities, city networks, research institutions, and international organizations around the world to gather their thoughts, ideas, and showcase their successful experiences on the role that community space is playing in metropolitan life, and how cities are bringing government services, green infrastructure, sports venues, recreational activities, urban parks to communities located in different parts of metropolitan areas and connecting people with urban settings. So to this end, let us first welcome Mr. Octavio de la Vaga, Secretary General of Metropolis, to address this webinar.
Thank you very much. And first of all, I would like to thank the city of Chengdu for your commitment with Metropolis, for your commitment with all the members of Metropolis. I mean, this initiative that we launched together, the Learning Hub with Chengdu, that today we are finishing the round of this year with this workshop that we have been having several workshops on that. Next year we'll be working also as well on more webinars. I have to congratulate because on the one hand, the contents of the seminars, especially the one that we are going to start, we are starting today about seeking better quality of community life, a Park City approach, is at the heart of what we are trying to develop within Metropolis. Last year, during the pandemic, we launched what we call, I'm sorry, it's redundant, we call a call to rethink metropolitan spaces. There, we were saying that the pandemic was not raising new problems or confrontations, but in fact, it was confronting us to the problems of urban development. It was as well, maybe what it was doing is highlighting some of the contradictions of our urban development. And then we were asking for all our members, working with different stakeholders, with academia, with the private sector, to look for a new way of developing our metropolitan spaces, saying that, as I said in the introduction, placing people at the center of our cities, thinking in terms of public space, requesting public space as the essential part of a city, bringing back nature into the city, building healthier, greener, and safer cities for everybody, and thinking in terms of quality of life. For many years, we've been thinking, and it's important as well, of course, to take into account infrastructures, but we've been thinking big cities and metropolitan spaces only in terms of hard infrastructures. Now it's time to think on how we think about people who live in these communities, who live in these cities. As I said, thinking in terms of communities, thinking in terms of different areas of the cities, thinking in terms of a polycentric metropolitan space, but also always thinking in terms of sustainability. And then as well, this work that we're carrying out together with Chengdu, it's an essential part of our strategic action plan. Last November, our General Assembly approved the action plan 2021-2023. And there, one of the pillars of this action plan is training and learning, and to give to our membership and the practitioners within our membership the capacities, the spaces for dialogue, for reflection, and for finding new solutions, exchanging about new solutions in building these metro areas. And I think the work that you are carrying together with Chengdu goes in this direction, and I hope we will continue working together. So thank you very much. Thank you to all the participants and the speakers today, and I hope you will have a very, very fruitful discussions today. I'm afraid I won't be able to stay with you because this is the end of the year and I have so many meetings that I have to attend, but really, really glad that I could spend at least some minutes with you, and think as well that the work that you're doing here together is not only for the participants here, it's for all the community of Metropolis. The results of these discussions will be shared with all the members of Metropolis, 143 cities and metropolitan areas from all around the world. So I think you have a very, very important responsibility today. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Octava de la Vaga's remark. Just as you mentioned that this year is a very, very special year, and we're also facing a lot of those kind of problems like pandemic situation. But anyway, we're looking forward to a better future. And just as everybody knows that founded in 1948, the World Association of Major Metropolises dedicates itself to solving urban problems and promoting the sustainable development of urban areas. In fact, Chengdu joined the association in 2009 as a member of the executive committee of the association. Chengdu has been contributing itself to sustainable urban development by sharing its experiences gained in the process of urban development. So coming up next, now let's welcome Mr. Jiang Bing, Director General of Chengdu Municipal Foreign Affairs Office, to deliver a speech.
Thank you. 尊敬的奥克塔维秘书长，各位与会。
Thank you, respected Secretary General Octavi, dear delegates, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and good afternoon. First of all, on behalf of Metropolis Learning Hub Chengdu and the Foreign Affairs Office of Chengdu Municipal People's Government, I would like to welcome everyone to participate in this webinar and express My heartfelt thanks to World Association of Major Metropolises Secretariat for its support. Dear colleagues, in 2019, the Foreign Affairs Office of Chengdu Municipal People's Government signed a memorandum of cooperation with World Association of Major Metropolises on the establishment of this metropolis learning hub Chengdu. Like many metropolises around the world, in the process of urbanization, Chengdu is also facing the growing pains and strives to overcome the challenges brought by population growth and resource stress. This learning hub is willing to discuss urban governance, green and sustainable development, and other issues with colleagues around the globe through organizing training and exchange activities. Chengdu, with a splendid history and a culture of nearly 4,500 years, is a major metropolis in Western China, closest to the hinterland of Eurasia continent, serving more than 22 million people. In order to improve the level of livability and sustainable development of the city, Chengdu launched the Park City initiative in 2018, looking forward to leading the urban development with ecological civilization and build a people-oriented sustainability. This year, we have held a series of webinars on the theme of Park City at the spring session in May, together with cities like Glasgow, Seoul, and Johannesburg. We explored nature-based solutions and green infrastructure and other important issues from the perspective of urban planning, green economy, and life, urban renewal, and future park community. We elaborated how Chengdu's Park City initiative goals are compatible with the UN SDGs, and how Chengdu provides nature-based solutions under the Park City initiative. Today's webinar will continue to echo the theme of the spring seminar, but we will focus more on the connection between man and nature, man and cities, man and industries. Based on the fundamental social unit of the city community, we will share the successful cases of Chengdu in the fields of community micro-renewal, urban leftover space, utilization, and space design for rural communities, and discuss how to seek better quality for community life with city representatives. Finally, I would like to thank you again for your active participation in this webinar. At the same time, my special thanks go to Secretary General Octavi for promoting the in-depth cooperation between Chengdu and the association during his term of office. I still remember that we signed this memorandum in South Africa in 2019. And in the future, we look forward to continuously deepen our international exchange and expanding areas of cooperation through this platform. At this year ends, I wish all of you a happy new year. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mr. Zhang, for his speech. And as everybody see that today we are going to enjoy and also have an opportunity to be exposed to many of the cases experienced by Chengdu and all the people around the world. So it is a great opportunity. So as all we know that community is the smallest unit of social management and also an important element connecting individuals, families, cities, and society. Then how to create quality community space in different local contexts around the world, how to increase the success rate of community or neighborhood projects, how to enhance public participation in the design and planning of community space. Coming up next, we may pass floor to Mr. Scott Qingnan Ma, Director of Urban Design and Master Planning at AECOM, and also the American Urban Planner of Chengdu's Park City. He's gonna deliver a keynote speech entitled, "Well, it is a Park City lifestyle integrated into urban planning and design." Now, Scott, it's your turn now.
Hi, and good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, wherever you are. I have some PPT and some information to share with everyone. I would like to also share a little bit about my own personal experience of my background, studying in New York City, and then spending quite a bit of time in Shanghai, and then now I've been in Chengdu now for about 3 years. So I have a PPT I would like to put up, so please bear with me. Wait, is this right? Oh, shoot. Sorry. Shoot, where is it? I can't figure it out. Call Michael real quick. All right, so I'm having a little bit of.
Yeah, can you see? Okay, it comes out now.
Oh, wait. Yeah, sorry, I'm having
Okay.
a little bit of a technical difficulty. Someone check into it. But while we're waiting, maybe it's just a few minutes. But you know, I'll just go ahead and begin with it a little bit though. But back in 2018 with Xi Jinping, you know, opening up the whole Park City concept, making it official. You know, it was an opportunity for me to really embrace the sense of community and lifestyle. You know, being from New York City, where the city is a city around a park. It's a park in a city, whereas Chengdu is a city inside a park. And so that's like a very important concept. And the idea is like, wow, you're in a park and, okay, just a second. Okay, what do I do? I can't. I can't.
So you're sharing them.
Yeah.
But
I can't find it. Here.
Okay.
Wait. Is this right?
This is sharing.
Okay. All right. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. All right. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Right, let me get my bearing. So yeah, so essentially, as you see, exploring the Park City, the whole initiative and the idea. And so as you know, an urban designer, planner that works with urban regeneration and parks and the green open spaces, what are the opportunities that we can work with, and also with urban regeneration, how to re-implement and new strategies that can be adaptable and flexible. And so, you know, being in New York, you know, we have the park in the city where there's like a strong edge. Chengdu is more about blurring that edge, more of an integrated type of lifestyle that's able to, so like in a very symbiotic way, connect people and nature, where, yeah, I always think it's like, wow, it's a park, because you step out your front door and wow, you are in a park. It's not that you need to spend 15 minutes on the subway to get to your car, or be in the car to go somewhere, but you're always connected. System that everyone is part of, where it's a continuous community, and within this community, creating like vibrant opportunities where people can do sports, activity, culture, and so on. And so many years ago, I've been part of the Hudson River Park, and we see the before and after, where it's like, so taking something that had been forgotten, but kind of creating a new purpose for it and reinventing what that can be. And so I think Chengdu is in a special place now, because it's now developing, it's now moving into that stage where the city is in the development phase where we are actually implementing these parks, these green spaces that are part of the city. So, it's like towns and cities, they're best shaped and connected and resilient with like these vital landscapes. But it's also connected with the transport infrastructure and the built form. So it's like it's a bit of a fine balance, but at the same time, I think with the collaboration of people with different backgrounds, it does start to fuse together. So the High Line was a project where it became this elevated High Line, this skyline that connects to the city, but it becomes this park, this vibrant connection that's able to connect the community, but also because it's so special, it brings in a lot of tourists. But at the same time, I want to mention that when we look at projects that are successful in other places in the world, it's also important to recognize that they are unique to that context, that economic, that ecological, and that historical context. And I think every place has a responsibility to recognize the uniqueness that makes that city, that community, that area special. And those are the things that actually can transcend the meaning. And so, for instance, the High Line, it's like going on it's a timeline going through history. Different moments in time, like the changes that have happened in the city. So also, I'd like to begin by also sharing a few brief projects here in Chengdu that we've worked in. So this is Pidu Jincheng Park, and this is the part of the Jincheng Park that's on the north side of the city, for those that aren't completely familiar with this city. And the park is roughly 500 to 700 meters wide. And so with this particular case, we have a TOD, a transportation-oriented development, the lower part, and we have culture to the right, agriculture area to the smart city. And so there are a lot of stakeholders in this, but it's like how everything can connect, how everything can be integrated in a holistic way. And so those are some of the challenges with the large scales that we do have here in China. At the same time, it's like breaking down the scale, so it's very community-based, connected, and integrated. And again, this is on the left slide. How we energize and enliven these projects, where bringing the park into the community. We have like a high-tech, sort of like innovation office area, where we have green roofs, it's sustainable, but the architecture, the spaces reflect the strategies, but not just currently, but also as we're moving into the future. What are the spaces we can create that can be adaptable and flexible for future uses and potentials? And again, the right, the green space, and how things are like branches out, it's like this root system, and that really becomes this catalyst for connecting everything together. So moving on to another project. This is a smaller one that I wanted to share with you. It's in the part of the Tianfu District area, and this is more of a residential project, but it's quite special in a way because it's connected to it's very part of the park from the Tianfu Green Park, and there's sports nearby. There's a station, a subway station. So how to create like a vibrant urban connection that allows people to connect in the communities, but also to other parts of the city. And so breaking down like the different systems of how to integrate everything, and where we have a park, ecological, pedestrian, street, service, and the smart digital, and then the kind of embracing the Park City concept and the ecological system. So, the pedestrian connections in between the spaces. It's not just a physical form, an object of a residential building, commercial and retail or service or schools, but what are the spaces in between? Sort of like this glue, this fabric that is able to sort of like create this cohesion that allows this connection for people, because everything is about people. It's how people move through the spaces, the mobility, and part of this idea, a key part of this idea, is within the different communities, there's a certain identity, a characteristic of each of these sort of like these parks, where we can create like a garden, children's, like water, swimming, art. Now it's a variety of different experiences, and then there's this urban corridor that's able to connect everything together and bring to the public. So we have the public spaces, most of the private. So elaborating on sort of like this Park City, bringing the green into the architecture. It's like taking inspiration from the mountains, the green, but also how it can filter into the building. So filter up into the building, but also filter down into the people's spaces. So going into a little bit more detail as far as the variety of creating a different type of experience. We have like those small scale villas, and then like creating like the sky gardens, and then gardens on the floor, and sort of like more community bays and cultural and historical, and with the vertical in the forest. And then additionally creating like a cultural connection that's able to bridge the different aspects. And it's really about and every project is different and unique in its own way. And so it's important to recognize that for different areas, because it's an important component that can be introduced into these public areas, whether they're private or public, or an area that's more touristy. So for Chengdu, we have different areas of like people from Sichuan. We have people out from the West, Tibet region that are in the area, and then also international people. So breaking down, getting into the different components, creating a different type of lifestyle and feeling and experience. We have like soft edges, calm, quiet, tranquil, to more, that are like unique and special. One's more water, one's more forest, one is more active, recreational, and then one is more public, more about cafes, tea houses, sort of restaurants where people can spend time, having dinner, eating, community. So another project, this is like an initial concept sketch, which is kind of bringing from different areas, locations into one central area, kind of generating this public realm. And within this realm, there are different aspects of this. And this project was a collaboration between Chengdu, excuse me, Chengdu and Silicon Valley in California, related to the smart tech. And within this collaboration, so important was to embrace sustainable strategies, still like respecting the green spaces, but how can that be a value? How can that benefit? And the different communities being completely integrated to the larger open spaces, but everyone has their own park essentially. So within these different regions, like these energy loops or connections, so like we have the ecological, active, industrial, cultural, and then the smart. But it's also like, what is smart? It's more about being resilient, something that can withstand the test of time, it's like timeless, but being adaptable as new technologies are able to, just naturally just change over time. But I think it's important that we are able to still connect to the outside, connect to nature. And that's so important to who we are in our wellness, our emotional well-being, psychological and physical. So I'm actually pretty almost done, but and even getting into sort of like components of smart city, other cities, when you look at the governance and the way that data is such a driving force and can add value related to more economical, effective, and then that way these open spaces are able to sort of like generate income for the city and also have new sort of redefining what can happen in the parks and the open spaces. And so I will stop here. And so again, it's sort of like how the park can be integrated into our everyday life. And it's like how it enhances the interface, ecological, the economical, and creating accessibility for everyone. And then ultimately, like the identity that it can bring to a city, to a place. So thank you very much. And let's see, I will.
Okay, thank you, Scott. Thank you, Scott, for sharing with us your good experience, and especially would like to take this opportunity to extend our appreciation for your great contribution to be assistance to the city for Park City. Thank you so much. So with 20 years of rapid growth of urbanization, the boundary between urban and rural areas is being broken. Xiaoshi Village at Pengzhou City in Chengdu has attracted scholars from different fields and public for the rural reconstruction of the village. As well, it also attracted the Yue Fu Fei, who was born and raised up there, and also he returned to his hometown from his urban life. In the context of metropolitan governance in Chengdu, the village is revitalizing with consciousness of community and reshape of the villagers. Mr. Yue used to work in the transnational company, moved back to his hometown by following a Chinese traditional proverb, which saying people always like to be back to where he was born, like wild geese. Even if he fly to other places winter, they would always be back in their birthplace next summer. So let us come up next. Pass floor to Mr. Yue Fufei, Community Secretary of Jingcheng Community in Pengzhou City of Chengdu, to share the story of him and his villagers.
各位专家，有这样的机会，
Dear
把我们
experts,
杭州的经验
it's my great pleasure to have this opportunity to share
能够
with
贡献给大家。
the experience we have drawn in developing Pengzhou to all of you. It's our good pleasure.
这边翻译起来。好，今天给大家分享我们在屋檐下的共享品质
The
的
topic of my presentation is under the same roof.
2017
Always believe something wonderful is about to happen. We will share a quality and livable life. So we compare the life we live with the villagers, like a family living under the same roof, and also this roof is of the characteristics of the Western Sichuan culture. At present, the revitalization of the rural area and as well as common prosperity are very important issues at the national level. We believe that governance is the foundation of industries, and that is not enough. Industries are the support of the governance for villages, and rural areas. So I divide governance from industries and put them in two categories. Under the theme of governance, we have first the village and folk conventions. And in the past, many villages are governed by country gentlemen. And at present, we encourage the participation of common villagers. And this will be very effective in our governance result. When it comes to industries, we have three major elements. First, we need professionals. In spite of the abundant natural resources, a village cannot achieve sustainable development without the right professionals. Second is the capital linkage. Capital and investments are very important to the development of villages, and we need to establish a very harmonious relationship between the investment companies and the villagers, as well as capital with or capital investors with villages. If we can harmonize these relationships among different stakeholders, then we will the village will have a bright future for future development. And the third element is good planning. So here are the three essential elements. And on this slide, these are the community governance methods. There is the first step. We have established the pre-conference study of law and the rule of law lecture, featuring intensifying internal strength, services, and working style to enhance the team's performance, cohesion, and execution. And second, we will establish two platforms. The first platform is for the consultation and co-governance, and the next one is for common development. These are the platforms for gathering talents, spurring creativity, and revitalizing the countryside. So one for governance, one for development. And the next step, we will build three teams consisting of country gentlemen, the volunteers, and also the experts and the professionals. This can help us to find the solutions to many problems we have encountered in our development. So after we have established this community governance methods, we have developed three systems, which I call them 3-5 smart community construction systems, which consists of three smart systems featuring the smart village affairs management, the community management, and the population management system. And the 5 unified are unified parking lot, joining area, laundry area, the green pining area, and the pining area for farm tools. So with those tools and the systems and platform, a village can be effectively and sufficiently governed by few people. So first of all, we try to regulate the production methods and the living habits of the villagers. This is the criteria for the qualification of all people share. And we have established this company, and its shares are held by and distributed among all villages. And there are three types of shares. The first is the fundamental shares. As long as you're part of the community, a member of this village, they can enjoy this fundamental share. And the second of all is the resource shares. So if the member or the villager can input their land or their idle resources into this company, this shareholding company, they can enjoy resource shares. And thirdly is the capital shares. And this is a sharing economy model we have created. We call it 1, 2, 3 model. And 1 refers to one main line, that is to adhere to the leadership of the Communist Party. And the 2 refers to the two-wheel drivers, that is to deepen the community governance and accelerate the industrial development. And 3 refers to 3 supports or 3 pillars. First, to revitalize idle assets. Second, activate and utilize resources. And the third, to introduce and cultivate talents. So this is our 1, 2, 3 model. And this is the map for this 1, 2, 3 model. Now we have the Communist Party, and we have the Jingcheng Community Share Economy Cooperative, Social Organization, and Residents Discussion Community, and Resident Representative Meeting. When it comes to the two-wheel drivers, the first driver is to deepen the community governance. As I mentioned just now, the 1, 2, 3 community governance model, featuring building a strong team, establishing 2 platforms, and building 3 teams. And the last part is very interesting. The country gentleman team can help us to solve the some internal conflicts among villagers. And our talents team can solve the development demand and the requirement for knowledge of our villagers. And we also have the volunteer teams. And having these 3 teams together in one village is a very interesting practice. And the next driver is to accelerate the industrial development. And each villager can have this greenhouse warehouse distributed by the village community. And we have spent over 9 million RMB to build a guest house, which consists of 9 rooms, which is also a very high-end and high-profile guest house in the city of Pengzhou. And it will accommodate the needs for parent-child vacations, health and wellness vacations, boutique homestays, and etc. The Community Share Economy Cooperative owns 10 subsidiaries, and they can offer jobs for some elderly people and women villagers. And it is estimated to generate nearly 2 million RMB this year. And it will also generate over 20 million RMB for just one village next year. And the 3 supports, with the first one is to revitalize the idle assets, to activate and utilize resources, and last but not least, introduce and cultivate talents. At present, we have achieved some postdoctoral and some graduate students to help us create more projects. And the picture on the left side at the bottom is very interesting. This is the warehouse I mentioned. Due to some special design, the villagers can have a rest, have a break under the roof, especially in on hot summer days. And the picture in the middle is a perimeter of this guest house, and previously it was a kindergarten. And through our renovation, we have invested over 3 million RMBs to renovate it into a guest house. So there are 4 ideas under the same roof concept of sharing: emotional sharing, space sharing, economic sharing, and resource sharing. These are some mini projects: the shared kitchen, the hill guest house, and the wood guest house. So I'd like to sum up that against the new concept of under the same roof, we start a new model of rural revitalization and turn to a new chapter of common prosperity. Thank you for listening. That's my presentation. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mr. Yue, for your wonderful story and what happened in your village. I think you can see that the highlight of his experience just lies the balance of his village to keep between governance and development, which is very smart and very impressive, I think, for many people to adopt. Actually, it is based, I think, personal idea, it's based on a very, very special social system here in China. It's pretty impressive. Thank you so much. Then coming up next, let's take a look at a diverse range of perspectives to acknowledge the stories are textural and different in each part of the world. Then coming up next, Dr. Felicia Adib, Project Officer of the Community Development Center, Project of Forum of Expertise Manager, Ramallah Municipality. She's going to share with us what Ramallah Municipality achieved in community governance. Now here, please.
Thank you for inviting us to this very important network to present our story, the Active Aging Initiative. I would like to share with you my screen, so bear with me a bit. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, we can see that.
So, Active Aging Initiative carried out by the Forum of Expertise in Ramallah Municipality. Ramallah Municipality believes that resilience is key to achieve sustainable development, especially for a community living under a military occupation. With this in mind, high municipal officials were inspired and have adopted the slogan of "No one is left behind," which is the central promise to the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. This sparked a discussion during one of the municipality's annual meeting, where we reviewed our program and objectives. During this genuine discussion, we came to a conclusion that most people, including poor, women, disabled, were being cared for within the municipality's capability, except for some aspects of senior citizens' lives and well-being. And this is how our story began. In order to develop a strategy to strengthen the city's relationship with senior citizens in Ramallah as part of a better quality of community life in Ramallah city for this particular specific age group. The Forum of Expertise is a knowledge-based community center which is working to provide senior citizens with opportunities to remain physically, emotionally, socially, and intellectually active. Increase their resilience. The forum consists of a two-floor building located in the old city of Ramallah. It occupies around 1,400 square meters. The premises are encircled by an established garden with trees and flowers. It was renovated to accommodate the functions and the activities of the forum, including a small library, reading area, multi-purpose room, and training rooms that are equipped with desktops and laptops. The building has ramp and elevator to accommodate the senior and individual with special needs. The location of the forum is easily accessed by general public, and it also offers a car parking space. We are extremely proud to have an advisory committee from the members themselves. And this picture was captured for one of our meetings. The committee consists of committed 4 men and 4 women who are keen on meeting periodically in order to provide advice, guidance, overall direction, and also contribute to the forum's policy. So who are the members of this particular community center? Currently, we do have 500 members. It's worth to mention that we don't have membership fees. And the criteria of joining this community center is basically age, experience, and volunteerism. At the beginning, membership was limited to people age 60. Then the advisory committee suggested to decrease conditions to allow people to plan for their retirement. And we also very proud that all for some reason. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you again.
Okay. So we are proud that we are, although we are functioning under the Ramallah municipality, but member of the forum can be also from surrounding cities, villages, and refugee camps. We do have 4 major objectives or programs. One is related to expertise exchange program. The other one is related to developing the capacity of the members themselves. The third one is related to well-being, and the fourth one is about volunteerism. The forum seeks to utilize experiences of senior citizens who are willing to share their knowledge, skills, and experience with each other and with younger generation, hence reducing any generational gap that might exist. The initiative aims to create cross-generational cooperation platform and design activity to encourage and to exchange the knowledge and to have a platform for interaction between people and between generations. Therefore, trainings are conducted on topics that are attractive to youth, such as general management, time management, debate, public speaking, fundraising, language-related training, etc. We also organized workshops around many experience and expertise that the members have. So we had workshop related to embroidery, crochet, painting, jewelry design, chess, etc. As mentioned in the previous presentation, the forum, similarly to any organization in the world, we were affected by the pandemic. However, we were successfully managed to keep members active during the COVID-19 lockdowns and afterwards by utilizing the social media and technology. During this year only, the forum organized 22 training topics and 16 workshops. Now I'd like to move to the second pillar or program of our initiative, which is the capacity development program, which is mainly concentrating on developing the capacity of our member through reading and discussing books. This is why we do have a small library. We do have what we call it a book club to read and discuss books and to watch and discuss films and short documentaries. It's also about developing the capacity of the members by interacting with different aspects. So we did some training on Zoom application, on social media, on how the content of the Instagram is different from Facebook and Twitter, etc. Now I would like to talk about the well-being program. The Forum of Expertise foster a holistic approach toward active aging, one that directly and indirectly affect the health, well-being, and the welfare of senior citizens in a positive way in the city. We do have a weekly program. So on Mondays, we have 1 hour chair yoga classes. On Mondays, we do have the breathing yoga classes. On Wednesday, we have the walking exercise in the athletic track that was developed by the Ramallah municipality, mainly to improve the life of the citizens in the city. On Thursdays, we do have the physical activity classes tailored to the needs of older people in the city. We do have the weekly salsa dancing classes, the weekly rhythmic classes. We have a singing group, among other activities that is affecting the well-being of our members. Also, periodically, we organize activities such as hikes and trips to different places in Palestine. We also organized social activities and entertainment activities for seniors and their families, just to make sure that we are addressing social isolation in an urban setting. Finally, I would like to talk about volunteerism, which is the core program, and it's a cross-cutting program. All the programs and activities I have discussed before have been carried out by volunteer members. But in addition, we have 2 types of volunteering activities: an internal that's happening inside the forum, and external that's happening within the organization functioning in the city. So we do have a small gardening initiative within our Forum of Expertise. And gardening is very important for well-being. And we volunteer not only to make sure our garden looks beautiful, but also members with gardening interest, they volunteer to plant organic vegetables and to collect olives. We are very proud of our 3 olive trees that we have in our garden. We do collect them regularly on an annual basis. As we have a library also, we also volunteer to make sure that the library is up to date on the electronic system that we are using. And also members do return back books on their shelves after we took them out. It's very important also to organize activities that can be tackled and can address isolation during the lockdown, which is also something that came to our mind just as a reflection or to address the consequences of the COVID-19 pandemic. So during the pandemic, we created different activities that can be conducted remotely and still can maintain the engagement of our member. One of these activities was the musical program. It was a continuation of the musical appreciation classes that used to happen at the forum before the pandemic. This program, it's an online activity, includes interviews with Palestinian musicians, hosted and prepared by a volunteer member, recorded on Zoom application. The duration of each particular episode is between 40 to 45 minutes, where people can listen to and watch the musicians' music, experience, challenges, and their journey. So we were able to document 35 episodes that are available on YouTube if you are interested to watch them. Also, we have a documented program that is related to our creative writers within the forum. The aiming of this program was to document the experience of creative writer members of the forum For this program, we created a small studio in the forum, and we recorded 18 episodes using our phones, and we broadcast them on YouTube and Facebook. We were able to develop and broadcast 18 episodes of this program. We also created an electronic magazine to address the lockdown. It's an electronic magazine where members can write articles. We were interested in this particular activity simply because writing is another useful tool to improve the well-being and to also seeking better quality of the life of living in a city. So we do encourage our member to write articles and we publish them using another application called MailChimp. The first issue was related to the lockdown and how they felt during the lockdown. The second issue was related to volunteerism. The third was related to getting old and elderly. The fourth was about cooking and preparing food, elections, and the last one was about attack on Gaza Strip. During that attack, also, a lot of stories, human stories came from Gaza. So in order to maintain our connection with what's happening around us, we were able to translate these stories that came out of Gaza. We translate these stories into English, Italian, French, German, and we distributed these stories through our network. As I mentioned before, all the other activities that I mentioned are under the internal volunteering activities. As we do also have what is called an external volunteering program, where we we volunteer with organization providing different services to the community. So we volunteered within a child-based organization, telling stories or organize other activities. We volunteered with organization providing services to people and children with disabilities. We volunteered to provide services for orphan and for children living in institutions. Our members volunteered to provide private lessons in math, science, and languages. It's very important to highlight that volunteerism is contagious, and youth also volunteered to facilitate discussions inside the forum. They also led discussion, and they were the one who provided the training to our member when it comes to how to use Zoom, how to make a meeting, how to engage with others, what does hashtag mean. Answering all these questions, youth were more capable than our senior citizens to use and utilize these services. I would like to stop here, and this is my last slide, by saying that Active Aging Initiative is mainly about seeking better quality of life for elderly living in Ramallah City through channeling their knowledge, maintaining their active engagement, making sure that the forum is providing a physical space that is appropriate for this age. And the importance of all these activities, including volunteerism for their physical and social and psychosocial well-being. As a Palestinian under occupation, volunteerism is part of our national struggle against occupation. So it is part of our existence and part of not only improving the quality of life, but also to maintain living in Palestine. Thank you for listening, and I would like to stop here and open the discussion for others. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Adid, for sharing with us such a very wonderful stories, which are so impressive. Especially the part you mentioned in your story is the human-oriented policy are fully adapted by your community and smartly used in various ways, and create colorful programs which could form kind of ties connecting people within the community and also create it into a very harmonious family. Thank you so much. Then after the story in Palestinian, then we move back to Chengdu to create a quality community spaces better meeting the needs of people in the city. Chengdu released the guidelines for the planning of park communities in the year 2020 to guide the municipal departments, city managers, and private sectors in community projects. Community spaces in urban areas are presented in a variety of forms. The success of a particular community space lies not solely in hands of the urban designer or planner. It relies also on the people adopting, using, and managing the space. We say people make places better than places make people. So coming up next, Ms. Yang Junhui, Community Secretary of East Yuling Road Community of Chengdu Wuhou District. She's going to share with us the case called Micro Regeneration of Traditional Urban Street and Community. Okay.
大家好，首先 Good morning and good afternoon. First of all, I'd like to thank the previous speakers for your wonderful presentation, for your case study. And this is a great feast for me, both in case of information and experience. So, Yuling East Road community is located at the southern parts of Chengdu, and under the municipal policy of building a park city, we have seen great changes taking place in Yuling East Road. The road have become wider, but here is a relatively old district. It covers an area of 0.32 square kilometers, and it is home to over 18,000 permanent residents, quite high population density. And we are facing multiple problems such as insufficient public space, obsolete facilities and equipment. So we try to revitalize or to reuse the compound street idle place and to leverage strong civil culture, the rich talent pool. So all the organizations and organic units have established a regional co-construction and co-governance system. So in Chengdu's Park City initiative, what can communities do? Through multiple participation, we can leverage the micro renewal strategy, which is from a bottom up. So we began to decide different roles for different participants and stakeholders. For instance, we have held negotiations with residential communities and compounds and supported with professional planning and run by the enterprise operation and maintenance. And next, we focus on spatial aggregation. First, we reconstruct space for compounds and residential communities, reutilize idle facilities in streets and alleys. We also focus on people's experience in communities. So that is very important for scene creation. So we focus on the creation of all age-friendly scenes and to implant the artistic life scenes. And here is the logic for community micro renewal. And we have the self-portraits for the professional planners, the member of professional planning team. We have mobilized different stakeholders and participants. So in every unit, in every house, in every building, we can designate their specific functions. And we also encourage the participation of the residents. And we try to balance the interests of different parties and also focus on the utilization of space in the future in a more rational way. In the future, the community development need to be conducted in a more sustainable way. So we also need the support and the know-how from professional teams from the planning to the final launch. And on the other side, we also pay attention to, in our overall planning, the community, the business development, the enterprises operating in this community. So to that end, as managers or as the member of the governance of cities, we will come back to the very beginning, to our initial philosophy, that is to back to the daily life, find beauty in our life, and how to achieve micro renewal. These are the factors and issues we need to take into consideration and find ideals in our community operation and life. So in this micro renewal process, we focus on two types of objectives. First, we emphasize the participation of residents. We encourage the participation in consultation and collaboration among different parties. And we also encourage the participation of different parties in planning and design. And we have also practiced the exchange of roles from different age groups among different family members, and to think in their shoes and to accommodate their needs so as to establish a harmonious relationship among different types of residents. For instance, the senior citizens, they hope that we can offer them a place for host some poem sharing event alongside the street. So we, based on this demand, we also offer this, present this job offer that we seek planners from all over the world, and we also invite professionals from Sheffield University in the UK and the Chiba University in Japan to provide planning training for us. And our residents, they can vote on their favorable planning schemes and plans. Next, I'm going to share with you some of the cases which will involve children's participation. There will be the small owners to be to this community, and we will assign them with some projects and some micro programs. So in this part of my presentation, I will talk about the project in the alley. Behind the Yulin East Road Community Party Mass Service Center building, there is an area of about 150 square meters. This used to be an idle space because in the past it was not accessible by senior citizens or disabled citizens. So through our survey, we put forward our target to build this universal friendly space based on disability friendly. Because we found that there are over 350 people with disabilities, and among them, there are 50 suffering from mental disease or mental disabilities. So in order to accommodate their daily needs, we have adjusted our lighting system, and we also built barrier-free access for disabled people, and we also offer the specific words for guidance for the blind people. So even if this is not a very wide area, we still designed 1/3 of it into an open public space for young people to chat with each other, for senior citizens to play chess games with each other, and also for the children and the younger citizens, they can play games on this place, in this place. So if we can combine the spatial function with people's needs of socializing, then we come up with very satisfactory results. And next, I think we should also take into consideration both the commercial and the public functions of our community spaces. Therefore, we introduce cafe, the independent stores featuring cultural and creative features and cultures in our community. During this process, we should never forget why we start this project. We should also often bear in mind the needs for the disabled community. So we have offered the social and the friendly services for disabled people and the citizens to pay attention to their needs in their daily life. And also we have extended our space and we implant the artistic life scenes. For instance, we have prepared and organized the street arts exhibition and also some funny games which can attract the attention and participation of people of all age groups. However, extension is not enough. We should also reflect our life in the construction of the like circles. We offer Yuling Life markets along the streets, and people can find the agro products on the life markets. We also have Yuling storytelling events. We can visit different streets inside Yuling East Road with our friends and family members. And also, we are thinking about some unforgettable memories for our community members. To this end, we have held the Yuling Ground Sitting Concert. We will build our exclusive communities and events, featured events. So in this way, we can establish an interactive relationship between the extension of space and the themes, as well as our targets of macro renewal. And we also invited artists from Argentina to help us organize some street events such as dancing and drawing. So based on those activities we have conducted, we think we should also try to achieve some characteristic innovation through our own efforts. First, we create the life scene of the block aesthetically, and we should pay attention to the voices of vulnerable groups, for instance, the disabled, the senior, and the children. And through empowerment, we can help our citizens and our community members to through the integration of resources such as the professional cooperation, we reflect the grassroots governance concept of our joint contribution, joint governance, and shared benefits. So this will help us to establish a sustainable development cycle. So our efforts have also been awarded internationally. Of course, this is not our target, not to win awards, but still, we would like to see this as a confirmation or recognition of our efforts. And we are also trying to connecting the dots. For instance, we are trying to establish this youth creation and enjoyment block. So why youth? Because we believe that young people are a very important force for the micro renewal of our communities. So we instill the characteristics or this feature of youth into the In the Alley project. Therefore, we redefine and reanalyze the position and the business formats of the projects In the Alley. And we will introduce the small libraries, the creative parks for children, and the recreational area for young people. So part of the project is underway. For instance, the shared kitchen, the cinema, the canteen. So by this way, we can extend and write the new chapters for creating the memories or favorable memories for our citizens. And these projects will be conducted in phased and one by one. We have a community fund, so we will raise funds for the first project. And if that proves to be successful, then we will raise the second round of funds to support the second project. So by this way, we will build our community little by little to become a more beautiful place which can offer a quality life. Everyone deserves a good life. Communities are like plants that need daily maintenance and care. I hope the ideas we sow now can grow slowly and vigorously in our daily life under the micro renewal and the care of the community in the future. So that is my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Yang, for sharing with us her wonderful story happening in her neighborhood. And from her story, you could see that how important a civic engagement is in the whole process of design and in successful community renewal project. Though those kind of experience could be very good, not only for some metropolis, even for some small cities, and even for suburbs, which is very, very universally smart. Thank you so much. Coming up next, we may invite Sajenda Onsar, Project Manager of Livable Environment and Green Infrastructure Project, MM Greater Municipality, to share wonderful cases of MM Greater Municipality in the construction of environmental and green infrastructure projects. Now, please.
Thank you, Mr. First of all, I would like to thank and express my deepest thankful for Metropolis and the team for organizing such a wonderful webinar about Park City approach and to share with experts such all of you from all different countries and cities from all over the world. Please, I will stop the video. Yes, share my screen. Yeah. You see my presentation, please? You see my presentation?
Yes, we could see that.
Okay. As you know, Amman is the capital of Jordan with a population more than 9 million. More of the 40% of the Jordan population are within Greater Amman municipality. The population is going rapidly due to the refugees, and now we have more than 500,000 of Syrian refugees in Amman. For Amman, it have been facing recently some of development challenges like rapid urbanization, scarcity of natural resources, and successive influxes of refugees, and the topography and hills of the Amman city, and highly annual growth rates in energy and consumption. Loss of agriculture lands. Amman is committed to make the city healthy and livable and resilient. And for that, Amman has started long time and even before the Paris Agreement and national commitments and many projects to improve the services provided to the citizen and also contribute of the efforts of mitigation and adaptation of the climate change. And Amman now have a national efforts and the global efforts and be part of global network like C40, UCLG, 100 resilient cities, and more and more. Our GAM strategic goals and executive plans to have their commitments regarding contribution to the global efforts through seeking to achieve the sustainable development goals, such as goal number 7, to ensure access to the affordable and sustainable energy for all, and sustainable cities and communities, sustainable goals number 11 and number 13 for climate action. And from the pillars for our resilience strategy is to make our city an environmentally proactive city and to manage and fulfill climate change commitments. There's many green projects and policies in GAM which is focused on the improving the quality of the lives for all the residents in Amman, such as Green Amman Project, Amman Green 2020, Green Infrastructure Project, and Green Action Plan Cities. We are at GAM through our strategic and executive plans include the participatory approach for all components of the community, especially the refugees, children, women, and people with special needs. During the last 3 years, Amman had launched 137 community parks inside the highly dense populated site of Amman, and 5 mega gardens and 16 mega parks, which is available for and open for all publics, which is free and free for all. This starting from planning, which is based on the community need that they have a public open spaces near agents in the neighborhood. All the sector of GAM sectors, starting from planning, implementation, and all the procedure to have this parks and gardening, which is serve all the community. Yeah. And I want to mention in every parks and gardening, there a community center, which is held a different workshop and training and activities for kids, for women, for refugees also. Many publications have been published within GAM, very essential publication. It is one of them is the Amman Resilience Strategy and Climate Action Plan and the Green Action Plan for Amman. I want now to talk about our 2 projects, which is called joint project with the Ministry of German Development, BMZ, through GIZ, and our political partners, Ministry of Environment. The first project is calling Improving Living Condition in Disadvantaged Area of Amman. This project is starting since July 2017 until July 2022. The target group is up to 150,000 of the residents of this disadvantage in east of Amman. The activities is focused on the implementation of a green infrastructure for the development and improvement of public open spaces and access to services, community participation, capacity development of GAM and Ministry of Environment employees linked to the global agenda and national strategy. We implement the green infrastructure aspects in all our design. And there, as you know, there's social benefits for the green infrastructure at the individual level and for the community level. For the individual level, there's a physical well-being and health benefits, quality of the time that when they used very well rehabilitation parks and services, emotional, conductive and physiological benefits. On the community level, and we feel that since the community was with us, starting with baseline study that we have made it to reflect their needs in our co-design, we see that the sense of ownership and belonging increased after we launching it, and since 7 months we open the pilot sites, and we see since 7 months no vandalism and very nice sites until now. Safety and economic prosperity and good governance. I will now talk about the pilot site. We selected 3 sites, 2 of them in Nasser district and 1 of them in Badr district. The first one is leftover land. It's here a Syrian refugees camp, and this is the site before rehabilitation. It was using for diesel trucks and a garbage dump. Conditions were quite poor, and the trash built up. The community was not benefiting at all from this vacant land. And the intervention was made is interlocked tiling at the street there, adding a sidewalk on the Palestine street, children play area, increase the cover and shading, using also a green walls, using a permeable materials to reduce the water runoff. Through all the phases of the project, there was a site activation workshop with the local communities. You see the photos later. The site number 2 is a very mega parks, which is called Mahmoud Diqda Park. This is the photos after renovation. 1,500 square meter park in Nasser, located adjacent to stores, schools, and building. A previous condition and football field was in poor condition and insufficient seating and shading, poor accessibility for elderly and disabled. Green cover was so limited. Now, the intervention was done after a renovation, improve accessibility through addition slope and handrails, vegetation and the green, improving also water uptake and runoff, more play area and zones throughout the park to allow some of the privacy and more option, football park, rehabilitation and addition of many basketball court. The site number 3 is 7 stairs in Badr district. This is the photo before, and yeah, the stairs was in very bad shape, no railing, poor water drainage, uneven steps, poor lighting. And after the rehabilitation works, the blocks were added here for seating and to create a social area. Lighting feature instead for better visibility and safety along the stairs. Green walls were added to improve and increase the green cover. Now I will talk about the second project, which is also funded with from GIZ, and we work with the Minister of Environment. It is called Urban Microlands and how to grow urban forest 10 times faster. This is Japanese idea. It has been implemented for the first time at Middle East. It's aimed to improving the quality of life in this disadvantaged area by restoring the urban ecosystem and increasing the native biodiversity while retaining water runoff and stabilizing soil, regulating air temperature and decreasing the noise level and increasing the carbon sequestration. The methodology of Miyawaki method is to restore and reconstruction of natural ecosystem by creating native, ultra-dense and highly biodiverse and multi-layered urban forest. The Miyawaki method started from soil engineering, building soil life and fungal networks and biomass. This is the site. We select also 2 sites. in Nasser district and in Marka. It is 10 times faster and 30 times denser. The implementation procedure is started from site selection. Also, it's located in very dense, highly populated area, community outreach and site activation, then the soil test analysis, species survey, and we focus also on native species, define the plant community and the procurement native species, soil engineering, and dense planting and mulching maintenance. And through all the phases of the project, there was a site validation workshop activity with the community. This is the first site in Marka, and this is after 1 year of the planting. The other site is on Nasser, and this is now our sites. For the expected result of this project, the Miyako method enables environmental restoration and of the strongly areas in East Amman. The major therapy contribute in the Sustainable Development Goal 15, Life and Land, through urban greening efforts, which is contribute to recreate ecological balance and combating biodiversity loss and deforestation through the re-establishment of native plant communities. These forests retain water runoff and stabilize the soil, regulate air temperature, and decrease the noise level and increase carbon sequestration. The therapy not only contribute to the SDG number 3, good health and well-being, but also sustainable goal number 13, climate action, and number 11 for sustainable cities and communities through the improvement of the living condition and the climate resilience in the disadvantaged area. The project furthermore generate awareness among both of the population and the municipality for importance of the green infrastructure, and to provide the municipality of Amman with replicable measures for the increase of urban green spaces in water scarcity country. And after we launching this project, we from the feedback of the local communities, it's encouraging us to replicate this project and more area in Amman. This pictures and photos are from our community participation workshop and site activation for with gender sensitivity way for the women, families, elderly. Yes. Yes, thank you for attention.
Thank you. Thank you so much for Ms. Awesome to share with us about the story in Amman Greater Municipality. I think what she mentioned about her experience is very interesting for us to take into our consideration, especially in the process of city regeneration. Green infrastructure should and need to be paid great attention so as to keep the development on the sustainable track. Thank you so much for such a very good and also impressive experience share with us. Thank you. So coming up next, and let's move back to Chengdu for a wonderful case of building up a community sports space in Chengdu. Coming up next, Mr. Li Keyi, Head of Designer for Chengdu Fuqing Sports Space in Chenghua District, is going to share with us his story happened here in Chengdu for the sports space.
Distinguished guests, dear experts, good afternoon. It's my great pleasure to share with you some of our cases with all of you, and also to learn from you, from your valuable support. So this project has been put into operation in May 2021. This project stretches all the way from Renju flyover of Chengdu Second Ring Road to Qinglongchang flyover, with a total length of about 1 kilometer and an average width of about 18 meters under the bridge, covering a total area about 18,000 meters. And this is a great a great breakthrough in the utilization of spaces under the flyover. So with the development of cities, the public spaces have become more and more rare and precious. And now in cities, we have seen the crisscross system, our network, consisting of flyovers. And this is called the gray concrete or gray space in cities, the leftover space in cities. And many of those spaces under the flyover become the parking lots. However, for urban planners, we should not leave those places left undeveloped. So we should revitalize those places and add to them new functions so that they will become the necessary part for people's life. And this is our major task as urban designers. So taking the opportunity of the urban development to improve the infrastructure for the WAG 31, we have learned many successful cases from other parts of the world, and we have designed this distinctive and stylish sports theme characterized by fashion and sports. This under flyover sports space is designed with sports facilities for people of all ages. It features an open layout with 9 theme parks, including Tam Corridor, all the way to Community Activity Center. So we have created a multifunctional public sports space. It has basketball courts, 5 basketball courts, football fields, skateboard areas, table tennis courts, badminton courts, and the children recreational areas. So in this project, it not only provides citizens with a social public arena for sports and leisure, it has also become a popular spot in the local community. And it can also provide a place for sports, for instance, basketball, badminton, or table tennis 24 hours a day and 7 days a week. And through bushes with different heights, we have added into these places very interesting and distinctive features. At the same time, safety railings, barriers have been placed around the outer perimeter of the sports space. Traffic lights and signs have also been added to the roads on both sides. So apart from its safety functions and these functions for transportation, we have also introduced thematic light shows in different theme parks. This can not only provide the safe experience for tourists, but also we have installed smart interactive facilities into this sports space. And all the concrete columns supporting flyovers have been transformed into new sharing space in these urban jungles. They are the brainchild of our urban planners. They have presented the new utilization or the novel utilization of the idle urban spaces. And we can make full use of the resources, especially the land resources, so that we turn the parking lots into a sports space, and we have also helped to solve the problems of traffic congestion, and also the inconvenience of people's daily traveling. At present, this project have been put into operation for several months. So during the past few months, we have seen people come here to take different sports activities, rain or shine, and children can have very funny and exhilarant experience here. And we can also see senior citizens, they join the line dance or square dance projects every evening. So all these pleasures are generated and created by the revitalization of the idle urban space. And this project has helped the urban managers to solve the problems of properly managing those gray areas under the flyover, and also contribute to the project of establishing a 15-minute sports space in the city. So the active participation of citizens can best exemplify the very value of this project. And in the next step, with the available quantity of space, we will introduce professional operation teams on the basis of ensuring its welfare for the public to organize sports events and promote sports IP and branding with local features. We hope to facilitate sustainable development of such under flyover sports zones through science-based innovation design, smart technologies, and through our efforts, we will provide a more convenient life for people, and this ancient city will be injected with new vitality. And that is the very purpose for our urban planners. So much for my sharing and introduction.
Good evening for sharing. Here in Chengdu, we do have a lot of local people. They're pretty much fond of doing physical exercises in those kind of sports spaces. So every weekend or even in the evening, you could see a lot of people doing physical exercises in the community space, sports space. So thank you so much for your contribution. Thank you. So it seems to me that we're now approaching to the end of case sharing. So today we're much happy and have learned a lot of very informative and constructive experiences shared by our speakers around the world. And many thanks again for sharing with us so many very beautiful cases. And coming up next, we are moving on to a Q&A section. So if anybody have any question, please let us know. Can we see anyone have any questions? Okay, our technicians are working hard to import some of the people who are now watching our live stream. Sorry, I could see something over there on the screen. Helen, can you see these questions?
Yes, I can see that Stefania Romano from Eclay is, she has her hand raised, and we have also some questions in the chat, so we can share it with you.
Okay. So
Thank you
excited
so
to hear
much.
that. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, I got a question. Can I read it out? The city park approach converts to the women's scales and content. How to balance shared public equality ownership of a park, green space that can be activated, maintained, and developed by local citizens of the community, and between commercial IP development to ensure its sustainable future. So whom the question is asked for? balance shared public ownership of a park, green space that can be activated, maintained, and developed by local citizens of community that between commercial IP development. So yeah, actually you can see that the question goes like any of the runners of the public space, how to balance the investment or the commercial IP development and the public uses of this kind of public spaces. So anyone would like to answer this question? Do you have any idea to that? So we're exchanging with some of our speakers. If anyone would like to, yeah, how to balance the commercial investment and the public use of the those public spaces. Okay, Mr. Li Keyi, who is a designer of one of the sports space here in Chengdu. Actually, one of his works here in Chengdu is kind of example for such kind of balance. Probably he has something to say.
Thank you for your question and thank you for your attention to the under flyover project in Fuqing. I have understood your question. Actually, we have lots of commercial spaces in this project near the Qinglong and Simaqiao communication and Qianshui Bandao district and community. Actually, these are very populated and very commercialized spaces. So our starting point and our idea is to try to attract the people to come to this project with the help and assistance of the commercial support and the facilities. And after carrying out some of the research and study in the nearby places, we found that in the surrounding areas, there was no commercial sport spaces. So then we add this into the one of the functions in the under flyover project. And this is open to all age groups. And then we tried to strike a balance between the public project and the commercial ones. So we carried out another research on the composition of the citizens in this community. So we hope that the project can be more dynamic and the space would be majorly devoted to the public ends. And now we do not have the commercial ones.
And during the process, I just watched that. It seems to me that Helen left a message saying that probably Stephen Romano also has something to say about the same question, right?
Stefania Romano from ICLEI. Can you hear me? Thanks. No, I just
yeah, go ahead, please.
I was just hearing, listening all the interventions quite, I would say, interested, and in fact the case studies from Chengdu, from New York, and from Amman were so inspiring. I'm representing here ICLEI, specifically Cities with Nature, which is a partnership initiative which is led by ICLEI, the AUTN, and the Nature Conservancy. It's and in fact, New York has just joined as number 200 within the network, and we're really growing also in partnership besides cities. And many of the thoughts and insights that I've had from the speakers today were so useful for me, you know, for definitely getting all the different stakeholders on the same page, and then suggest just models and systems and good ways for combining actions together. You were all saying that you know, getting on volunteering basis and working together makes everybody efforts much more strong. So just very pleased to be a part of this very interesting panel, and looking forward for potential cooperation and partnership with Cities with Nature. Thanks.
I'm sorry. Now we are a little bit offline at this moment. We just give 1 or 2 minutes to our technicians to make some readjustment. But I wonder if you could hear me, because I cannot hear what you say.
We can hear you.
You can hear it? You can hear me? Okay. So we can just push it forward. Just now, I just also read one more question, which was created by Devashiri Rochung Hari. This question goes to everyone. She or he mentioned that compare economic, social, and environmental factors between what is there and the proposed. Analyze them, proceed by giving your suggestions and feedback to the government. And what is the procedure? So I guess maybe the question goes something like that. He or she would like to know how to balance the 3 factors like economic, social, and environmental, and how to feedback this kind of information to the government to do the coordination. So if anyone would like to answer such a question, I think this situation varies from country to country. Yeah. Anyone would like to take this question?
Well, if you allow me.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Felicia from Palestine. If I got the question right, I think having what is called a community center within the umbrella of a municipality is part of being part of the government. So having said that, it's very important to have such a community centers developed within a semi-governmental structure that will help not only maintaining the economic and the social and the environmental factors, but also make sure that living in an urban city is also important for the citizens and for all ages. So I think this is very crucial factor, having these particular community center linked in a way to governmental and semi-governmental entities in the countries. And as you mentioned, it's different from one place to another. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. So we know that the situation varies from country to country. So for each of the communities, they are smart enough to do the very good coordination between these 3 factors. So it was shared by the representative from Palestinian countries, but I wonder if anyone else would like to share with us more ideas or your practices in dealing with this situation.
Yes, please. Me?
Yes, you are there. Yes.
Yeah. From our experience at Greater Amman Municipality, we think that when we have a representative from the local community in the decision-making phases, it's really make a good impact and really make the whole community will be with us when we're taking this decision regarding rehabilitation of public open spaces, and also when all the stakeholders engaged in all the decision making, it's really you can see the difference. And for the commercial and the balance between commercial and the other, I think we can do all these spaces, even it's a social, commercial or whatever, a socialized space. It's really also have a very good impact.
Okay, thank you so much for the representative from Ammon. It seems to me that our Chengdu part, some of us would like to have something to say about the coordination of the three factors. Madam Liu? Okay.
Hello, everyone. This is Liu Suma from Chengdu. I'm with Chengdu Foreign Affairs Office. Actually, Chengdu, we have done a lot to improve our environment and to bring back a lot of jobs. There's a lot of management department like Park City Initiative Bureau and Commercial Bureau and Investment Bureau, and just like us, Foreign Affairs Office. We are all under the same framework we called Park City Initiative. If there's, we got a lot of city planning and cities, park cities constructions, and if we have a lot of ways to engage our citizens can report their request to these bureaus, and they can talk to our mayor directly through mayor's hotlines. So there's many ways that our citizens and the city planners and the policymaker, they come together to put us under the same concept to build a park city. So I think now everyone's in the same page, and a lot of stakeholders, we are now in the same page, and there's a lot of things we can do together. And this is our approach as Park City Initiative, and we like to share more with you. If you have any questions, feel free to ask, and I'd like to answer. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Madam Liu, to share with the guests the general practice are adopted here in Chengdu. And as far as I know that at this moment, a lot of questions are coming in, but it seems to me that we're now coming to the end of the time limit. But anyway, I think, although today we have only very limited time anyway, but our organizers are going to collect all the questions to the speakers and try to answer all your questions back to you later. So it seems to me that we have to coming up to the end of today's session. And before we go, I'd like to mention one point is that, as far as I know, that Professor Carlos Moreno from Sorbonne University in Paris, he used to say, cities are the most complex systems created by human beings. And one of the characteristics of a complex system is the non-possibility by predicting its evaluation. We need to consider cities as complex systems and create new ways to generate adaptable solutions. This is how he came to propose the living city instead of the smart city. So it is very meaningful and very interesting. So many thanks again for all the wonderful remarks presented here today on community governance and park city construction. And even though we still have a very, very long way to go, we are also pretty confident to look forward to the future, especially the city of Chengdu striving for the park city to bring us more surprises in the nearest future. So ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of today's webinar, and to wish everybody enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
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 Bye-bye, and thank you.
Thanks to you.